Greetings, New Salem. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. This is the second Wellness Wednesday. My name is Anthony Dupre, and I'm a certified personal trainer. My goal here is to provide you with some tips and tricks and demonstrate some things that can be done at home. As I said before, this is the second Wellness Wednesday, so if you haven't listened to the first one, I encourage you to go and for the first one by Shantae Moore. It will provide a lot of value for you. Just a quick disclaimer, since I am I'm demonstrating some exercises, I am not a licensed professional, so I'm only providing very general tips and guidelines, and you will need to consult with your physician for anything specific. All right, so I want to make sure I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to go through kind of quickly here early on, and then hopefully have a lot of time for the demonstration and questions later on. So obviously, it's a major understatement to say that this virus has changed a lot about how we do things in our lives today. There's a lot of negativity and fear that have been caused by this, but I want to focus in on the things that we have some control of, which is our daily movement. Before I get into those demonstrations, I wanted to talk a little bit about time management and our habits, because that's important in this discussion. Some of us have way more free time now. Others have less, and some have about the same. And I'll use this as a quick example to provide 2 quick points. So those 2 points I want to specify are the importance of building good habits, and you don't need nearly as much time as you think. So I am a husband and a father with a full-time corporate analyst role while working from home and doing daddy daycare with my almost 3-year-old daughter. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm also a certified personal trainer, which is in my spare time, but I happen to have a deep passion for health and wellness. And I'll give a quick scroll around so you can see my basement. Going the wrong way. But as you can see, I'm not lacking in gym equipment. And I say that as I train in the morning before my daughter and my wife wake up. And I've created this into my lifestyle as a habit. I'm definitely not a morning person. This is something that I've had to do over time. And I've built the habit daily by making an emphasis to train in the morning, because I know if I don't do it in the morning, it won't happen at all. And that's even with me having a huge passion for health and wellness. The time just slips away if I don't knock that out in the morning, and that just so happens to be the best time for me to get it done. So that's a good habit that I've built over time. It took me years to build that habit. The second thing I want to mention is the time. You don't need that much time. So some people think that you only need 30 or you need like 60 minutes or 90 minutes to make any major improvements in your health and wellness. And that's definitely not true. Some days I only have 15 minutes, but you can definitely get a good solid workout in 15 minutes or less. So I want to make sure that I make that clear, that it's not about having an hour or 90 minutes. You can definitely get a lot done. And you can also, now that we're all home, or I shouldn't say all, a lot of us are home during the day, we can use this time to break up the sessions into, instead of doing maybe a 30-minute or an hour, maybe break it up into 3 20-minute sessions or a couple 10-minute sessions throughout the day, mixed up within whether or not you're working from home or if you're doing things with your kids or whatever the case may be. That's something to consider as well. All right, so I just wanted to quickly dive through that, and now I'll get through some of the equipment that you can use. I know that I have a lot of equipment in my basement, but there's definitely a lot of household items that you can use to get a lot of things done from a fitness standpoint. So I'll try to go through. Greetings, New Salem. This is a Wellness Wednesday recap meant to provide you further details into exercises that you can do at home, and also additional comments into the questions that were asked during the Facebook Live session on Wednesday. The exercises that I will be demonstrating are based on categories of fundamental movements that I've watched my daughter learn and do over the past 2 years. These are skills that we lose by not practicing them over time, and now is the perfect time for us to relearn our bodies. The first set of exercises that I'll be focusing on are pushing movements. For the pushing movements, you have several that you can do. You can do a wall push-up. You can do a push-up on your knees. You can do a push-up with your hands elevated. So you can do push-ups on the floor. You can do push-ups with your feet elevated. You can do clapping push-ups with just the hands or the feet. And then you can also use either, if you have dumbbells or kettlebells, you can use those. You can also do a floor press with, here I have Cascade dishwashing soap or laundry detergent. You can do a one hand or two hands. You can lay down and just do the pressing movement from the floor. Or if you have a ball, you can also do it on the ball as well. So those are your horizontal forward pushing movements. For vertical pushing movements, you can take something like this and you can just go overhead. You can do single arm. You also sit down and do it as well. And you can do it standing up. You can do a pike push-up. And if you're really advanced, you can do a handstand push-up as well. Moving on to pulling movements, both horizontal and vertical. They're some of the hardest to do at home if you don't have the equipment, but there are definitely some exercises that you can do. One, have a trusty towel, an old towel that you can use. You just take the towel, stretch it out, pull it out as far as you can. You can do rows, pull the towel toward your body. You can either do overhand or underhand grip. So you're still, like, you're maintaining that pull outward with the towel and you're pulling it back. This is a lot harder than it looks. See, you can do a single arm row with laundry detergent or a bag or something that you have. So I'll just do it with this dishwashing soap. And you can do a row. And you can do, if you have like a gym bag or a book bag or a suitcase, you can do this. You can do a bent over row. And you can do partner rows, so imagine that these rings are your husband, wife, kid. They're holding your hands and you're pulling yourself up into their hands. So you can do a row this way. For vertical pulling exercises, again, you have your trusty towel. Take this overhead, pull it apart, and pull down. Obviously, if you have a chin-up or pull-up bar, you can use that. If you can't do it for reps, you can do it for time. So you can just pull to the top and hold it for 5 or 10, 30 seconds. You also, if you have paper plates, I'm gonna use sliders, but if you have paper plates, lay down and pull the plates towards you, using pulling your elbows towards your body. Those are the vertical pulls. There's a sliding pull that you can do with the plates on a slick floor. So you just pull your elbows down. Moving on to squats. Obviously, everyone has to sit down at some point. So you can do a wall sit. Just hold that for time. And you're not just sitting, like you're pressing against the wall, pressing against the floor. You can do it with one leg. You can do a squat to a box or a chair or a couch. You can do it with one leg. You can do a regular squat. You can do pulse squats, so you just kind of sit down in position and you're squatting up slowly. Sometimes it's easier to hold some type of weighted object out in front of you. So it can be a bag or detergent or something. You just kind of do squats that way. It also makes it harder, so you can put like a backpack on your back and do the squats to add weight. You can do jump squats. Let's see what else. All right, that ends the squat portion. Moving on to hinge movements, picking something off the ground like a deadlift or just a heavy bag or something like that. So one thing you can do, so you got a handy dandy towel. We're gonna do a towel glute march. So you take the towel, you pull it apart, lay down, put the towel over your waist. You hold the towel down with your hands, you lift your leg, you can just switch legs while holding. You can do a single leg toe touch. So take your back leg, this. You can also hold on to a couch or a person for balance. You can do a glute bridge. Either double leg or single leg. And you also do single leg deadlift, which again, you can take a bag, a bottle, a suitcase, whatever that you have that has any weight. You can do a deadlift with that. It's just basically taking a single leg toe touch and adding weight to it. You can also pick up a bag and just do a deadlift with the bag. There's some quick hinging movements for you. Next up is single leg movements or lunging movements. So you can do a split squat. Again, you can have a couch or someone to hold on to make it easier. You can hold weights. You can use a bag or a book bag or suitcase to make it more challenging. You can also make it more challenging by going down very slow. Hold it at the bottom and coming up. You can also do it with your foot raised, so you can put your front foot on like a step and do it that way. Split squat, or you can put your back foot on a step and make it more challenging to do it that way. You can do reverse lunges. You can do lateral lunges. Don't mind the crying 2-year-old. You can do forward lunges. You can do walking lunges. And you can use that plate and you can actually do sliding lunges as well. To the side or reverse or to the front. Okay, now we're gonna talk about our core, very vital spot for our body. I'm also linking carrying exercises with the core. You have a basic plank, but most people, you're trying to hold the plank for 5 minutes. Well, if you're doing the plank right, you probably shouldn't be able to hold it for more than 30 seconds or a minute, because you're tensing your whole body, squeezing your fists, squeezing your glutes, squeezing your everything to hold that position. So you got regular plank, you got the side plank, you got an elevator plank, you got a shoulder tap plank, got plank with the twist or turn. Let's see what else we have here. Here's a way to incorporate your plates. You do a plank, circles. So circle 1, like you're cleaning. You can do a bear crawl. You can do a lateral bear crawl, which I don't have the space for. You can do what's called a sit through. So you kind of position, push up position, and then you kind of sit. You got, and then I'm gonna end with carries. So you can carry a suitcase or a book bag. This is a good way to build strength, your grip, your core, and everything. So you just walk with the object. You can do it with both hands or one hand. You can also, you can hold it up here as well. Maybe you're carrying a child or something. But when you're doing the walks, you don't want the bag to pull you to the side like this. You want to maintain your posture while trying to walk with the bag. And then for conditioning movements, if you have a jump rope, you can do jumping rope. You can do shadow boxing. You can do running. You can do walking. You can ride a bike, play with your kids. There's a lot of different things you can do for conditioning. Now is also a good time to focus in on mobility or corrective movements for aches and pains that you have in your body. You might have been dealing with pain somewhere for weeks, months, years, and it won't take one time doing that exercise to remove that pain or discomfort. So this is a good way to practice those drills or mobility drills. You can look them up on YouTube, or maybe if you've been to the doctor and they prescribed you a plan, or a physical therapist has prescribed you something that you can do every day, now's the time to definitely practice those movements so that you can feel better and move better. Now I'll get into answer or further explain some of the questions that were asked during the live chat. So give us 3 or 4 movements we can do at home. I probably just gave you, 20, 25. But what I can do is I can show you how to structure that. So one way you can pick just like a movement group. So I picked lower body, push, pull, and core. For the lower body, I picked a reverse lunge. For the push, I'll pick a push-up. For the pull, I'll pick a single arm row. And for the core, I'll pick a farmer's carry. So what I can do is I can do reps until I'm fatigued. The difference between fatigue and failure here, if I'm doing a push-up, just really quickly, if I'm doing a push-up and I'm like down here and I can't get back up and I'm straining, okay, that's failure. I want you to get to fatigue where it's hard to get yourself back up here, but you're not losing form to do that movement. So that's the difference between fatigue here and failure. Because I want to maintain movement quality while you're doing exercises. So one option you can do either until fatigue, or you can do like 45 seconds on or 60 seconds on and then 30 seconds off, a minute off. If you're trying to build strength, I would take the additional rest time off. If this is more of a conditioning movement, then you can make the rest time less. The other option here, I have a deck of cards. So I'm gonna shuffle the cards. So I'm gonna make each card a different suit. So I have a spade is lower body, a club is the core, a heart is a push, and a diamond is a pull. So I'm just gonna pick a card, and whatever it is, so I have a 7 of spades, which is lower body. So I'm gonna do, my lower body movement that I chose was a reverse lunge. So I would do that 7 times on each leg. Then I have a club. So I'm just gonna multiply, so the club was the core exercise. So I'm just gonna multiply the number there by 10. And so now I'm gonna do the farmer's walk or carry for 100 seconds, essentially. Then I can either keep movement with the cards, or I can take a 30-second or a minute rest. So then I have the number 3. So the number 3 was a pushing exercise. So I would do 3 push-ups, and you get the idea. Now, the thing is here with the cards is you might get back-to-back of the same suit. So you might have to keep doing that same exercise over and over again. Going through the whole deck would definitely be a challenge. If you're less advanced or more of a beginner, maybe you can take a quarter of the deck or half the deck, or maybe the first 10 cards and go through it that way. One of the other questions was asked, can you take an empty container and fill it with sand? You can fill it with sand, you can fill it with water, you can fill it with various different items, just make sure that it's that you have obviously you have the lid on tight so that it doesn't break and splatter everywhere. So another question was recommended before and after snacks for workouts. So this is very person dependent. It also depends on the time of day that you're working out, if it's in the morning, if it's during lunch, if it's later in the day. Regardless of the time of day, you want to make sure you're hydrated before, after, and during your workouts. And during obviously you want to be hydrated at all times, but definitely during workouts, you want to be very hydrated. That's with water or some type of electrolyte mix that's not something high in sugar, but just like coconut water, or I think a lot of I'll just leave it there, electrolyte mix. And you also have to figure out if you work better with food on your stomach or not. So generally, if it's like a snack, maybe an hour before your workout. If it's a meal, maybe 3 hours before your workout. Something with protein and carbs. Again, and that's generally the same so post-workout, protein and carbs again, and vegetables. But it's really dependent on the person. Some people, if they have a lot of carbs or a lot of food before their workout, they feel sluggish. Some people, if they don't eat at all before their workout, they feel sluggish. So it just depends on the person. So you have to try things out and kind of experiment which way works better for you. Another question that was asked is how many times should you do movement during the week? You should be moving every single day. Try to get, like a general rule of thumb is around 10,000 steps a day. So that means you go outside, go for a walk with your kids or your family. If you already are getting that amount, try to increase it. But again, so the strength training you can do 2 or 3 times. So do some of the exercises that I provided or other exercises at least 2 or 3 times a week. Do some type of conditioning 1 or 2 or 3 times a week, and then walking should be every day. This is also where you can do like your mobility or your corrective exercises instead of Netflix and chill or just binge watching shows. You can definitely do stretching while you're watching shows as well, or just movements every half hour just to break up you sitting down for that period of time. Let's see, how do you strengthen your arms? The pushing and pulling exercises I provided should help with strengthening your arms, as well as the carry exercises. And let's see. Quick fat burn. And then another one was the quick fat burning exercise for the core that would give you quick results. I gave you a lot of core exercises, but the way I'm reading this question, I'm looking at it in terms of someone that's looking for aesthetics. And if that's the case, then yes, you can build strength with core exercises, but that really comes from the kitchen, and also like your sleep, your stress management. Those other things are vital for the aesthetics of your core. Also, I don't think I mentioned this, make sure you do a thorough warm-up before you start any exercises. Make sure your body is ready. And don't just get up and leave. The most basic cool down you can do is to put your feet up on a couch or a chair, and just for 5 minutes, practice breathing. So put your feet up, lay back, and just practice your breathing. It's a good way to cool your body down. It helps with recovery. And most people aren't really breathing correctly. Most people are chest breathers. You want to breathe with your diaphragm. And I think that's all I have for the recap. I just want to point out, if you're a personal trainer, yoga instructor, or some other type of fitness professional, I encourage you to post below so that other New Salem members can reach out with additional questions or request more information about your specific area of expertise. I want to thank you for your time. Hopefully this provided value for you. Stay healthy and God bless. Thank you.